Hello, I'm Devilish Simmer and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I have kindly been requested to do a tutorial on getting The Sims 2 to work on modern day computers. Now I would like to just put out a disclaimer, in no way am I a professional programmer of games or computers. And everything that I have done personally to get my game working is from information that I have researched online and trial and error of attempts to get my game working. Everything I am showing you are things that have personally worked for me. They will not necessarily work for everybody, and there are other options out there which you can research that you could try if these particular methods do not work for you. Now there are quite a few steps to follow, and it will require downloading a couple of software programs in order to follow some of these steps, and I will strongly advise that any steps that we do regarding any game files, you make backup copies of everything. In case these particular methods do not work for you, have a backup copy to revert the game back to its normal settings so you can start from fresh with another method that may work in the future. Do not change any files without having a saved backup copy. For most of these steps, you might need to be an administrator of the computer, as it will ask for certain steps to have administrator permission to follow some of the steps. I will just say I've done this on 2 different computers running off of 2 different operating systems. So I have done it on my desktop version, which is on Windows 10, and I've also done the same methods on my laptop, which is running off of the Windows 11 version. I am also running the Ultimate Collection edition of the game. However, I have also done these methods off of the disc versions, and for me they have worked on both the disc versions, the Ultimate Collection version, the Windows 11 and the Windows 10. Now I will be splitting this tutorial into 3 videos. Part 1, getting the game to open and start up. Part 2, fixing the issues in the in-game options menu. And Part 3, fixing the graphical glitches problems within the game. Let's start first with the scenario that your game just will not load up. You're trying to start the game up and you get an error message that the game cannot load and the game cannot start. There is a couple of fixes for this. If you right click on your desktop icon of your game and head into properties, you get the properties box. One thing you can do is you can go into your compatibility tab and you can try running in a compatibility mode for a previous version that you know that the game was able to run on. So in The Sims 2's case, it was majority around the Windows XP mark. So Service Pack 2 is the most common, or you can use Service Pack 3. If that does not work, then you can try Windows Vista, as The Sims 2 did come out at the start end of Windows Vista coming out. So you can try the Windows Vista or try Service Pack 1 or 2. Might be trial and error which one to pick, but you are looking at anywhere between Windows XP to Windows Vista. Try loading your game up and see if that has worked. For me, I have not had to do this step. My game had a different startup problem, which we will come to in a later step. However, if this option has not worked, there is another step. If we go back into Shortcut, under the target, you want to go right to the end of the line and you need to type in space minus W. You want to apply that. It'll ask for administer permission click on continue. Then what that will do when you start the game up, it will force it into Windows mode. The game has an issue trying to run and open the game in full mode. So this will force it into Windows, hopefully relieving the startup error problem. Now, moving on to the step that was my issue, we are going to have to go online and we are going to have to download a little software. So we are going to head into the Graphics Rules Maker on Sims Network. All links to any websites or any downloads I will place in the description box below, so you can just enter all of these areas to download what you need to download from the descriptions box. So on the Sims Network, we need to download the Graphics Rules Maker. I have had a look at the new test version from 2023. It is looking exactly the same, near enough, as the one I have. So it's completely up to you which one you want to download. I am running off the 2020 version, but like I said, the 2023 version is looking exactly the same, so I'll leave that decision up to you. Just click on the download now, it will download, and just install that into your computer. Of course, I'm not going to do it, it's already installed. But follow the steps, install it into your computer. Once it is installed into your computer, you can go ahead and open it up. Okay, so once you have it opened up, it's just a little tiny box like this. And this is what fixed my problem. My problem was the game on load up wasn't recognizing any of my graphics card systems. So it was basically saying I didn't have the hardware to start the game. So what you just want to do is pop into the device information, and it should do it automatically for you. And under device, you should see the graphics card of your system, which the Graphics Rules Maker has found for you. And you just want to check down here under the in database, it should say yes. If this is all correct, then the software has found your graphics card and we can move on to the next step. Now, Graphics Rules Maker can fix a few in-game graphical problems. So it is a useful bit of software. Now, what you want to do is under this section here, it will say that the game is not found and this will be in red. All you need to do for that is simply press locate game and it will automatically bring up the path of the game and it will change to game found, video cards database loaded, and it will change to green, as you can see on my screen now. Once that is done, it has now found your graphics card, it has found your game. It can now link them. Now the next step we need to do is the game tweaks. Now you need to tweak this for your personal system. So obviously if you have AMD Radeon's system, you need to tick that. If you have Intel graphics system, you need to tick that. But what you need to make sure is ticked is enable drivers memory manager and disable texture memory estimate adjustment. These must be ticked. All the below is optional compared to your system. I would advise, if you're going to follow one of my next steps in this program, do not click disable sim shadows. This is because there is an issue in game where we are getting black boxes in the shadows. Now, this disable sim shadows was put into this software to basically turn the shadows off to get rid of that black box. Do not do that if you're going to follow my next step, because the next step will fix those shadows to put the correct shadows back into game. If you click this disable sim shadows, the next step on fixing the shadows will not work. Okay, so now we need to force some texture memory. The texture memory force is an important step. It will reduce a lot of graphical glitches within the game once your texture memory has come to its capacity, because the game has a very small texture memory bank, because computers back when the game came out didn't have the graphical memory space to hold. Now computers do. We can up the usable space and it can allow the game to use more of the allowed space to store texture memory data. You need to have a look at your system to know what you can put in this box. In order to do that, you just need to press on your Windows key button and R. That will bring up your run box. Within your run box, you want to just type in DXDIAG, then OK, and that will bring up your DirectX diagnostics tool. So now we want to be going under the display tab, and under device, we just need to have a look down at our display memory, our VRAM. And as you can see, mine is 8081 MB. So whatever that number says, you want to round it to the nearest 1000 and pop that into your box. So as you can see, I've put 8000 MB. If you have 16100 MB, then you want to round it to 16,000 and put it in here. And so on for whatever figure you have under your display memory. Now, again, on Graphics Rules Maker, it allows you, in my version at least, it's not the same for all versions, it allows you to set the resolution, which there is an issue in-game that when you get into in-game, it is stuck at the resolution of 800 by 600 and you cannot change it. There are no other options. So you have a tiny square box in the middle of your screen. In here, we can set up our default and maximum resolution sizes. So it will unlock the resolutions. Now, if you have the option in here, that is great. Go ahead and whatever your maximum resolution is for your monitor size, pop that into your default and your maximum settings. Once we have all this information, click on Save Files and you are done. You can close down Graphics Rules Maker. Hopefully, by this stage, for the best part, we should now be able to load the game up and at least play it. If this is the case, we can then start moving on to the next stages, which is fixing some of the in-game issues regarding compatibility with the graphics, which we will cover in part 2.